Well, hi everybody, and welcome once again to my video blog. So today, the main thing I want to tell you about is my hormone regimen and my research into hormones and what I've been able to achieve with it and what's been going on with that. But before I do that, I'm gonna again give you an update on my life, my transition, because a lot of things have been going on lately. Some of them quite interesting. And really, I can't say my life is boring these days because there seems to be always a lot of things happening. But just last Friday, Erin and I went shopping, and well, as I've told you recently, I've started getting the guts, to try things in store but when you buy things without trying them on, you often end up with stuff that doesn't fit that you have to return. And that's the problem I've been having with buying online, and I've been feeling more and more like I pass well enough that I can try things in store without really being out and really having any issues. And so I've been trying female clothes in store for a little while now, and thanks in part to the encouragement of my girlfriend Erin. She's been helping me get more confident and do these things. But last Friday I decided to push this a little bit further and go to the store called La Rose and try on some bras. And to me that was more challenging. It's something I've been scared of because for some reason, trying intimate items, clothing like bras and underwear, has always seemed more scary than, just trying on like a shirt or pants or whatever. But I did it and I didn't have any problem in the store, and I don't think I got clocked, I think I passed. But the reason, I've been wanting to do that is because, I've been getting more breast development recently on my new hormone regimen, and, I've been figuring maybe I have enough breasts, that if I get a small bra like a 34A or 36A, that's a push-up bra, I might be able to get cleavage. Unfortunately, the answer is not quite yet. I have enough breasts that if I wear a small push-up bra, I can make my breasts look more like breasts. But right now, I don't have enough breast mass, I think, to actually have cleavage. Even though, they're big enough that, if I wear a t-shirt like this and I go out in public, people can definitely see that I have breasts. And some people have actually been asking me questions about that, people who don't know about my transition, I guess. But anyways, not losing courage, hopefully in 4 or 5 months I'll have enough breasts, to actually have cleavage that I can display in public, and that shall be fun. Apart from that, another piece of news that's actually big news is that I told you that I was thinking of going with Dr. Zakowski for facial feminization. Well, now it's official. I communicated with their office and I booked a surgery date this summer. So July 2nd, I'm going to go for facial feminization surgery with Dr. Zakowski. Erin and I have already booked the plane and the hotel, and we've done the math, and we should have just enough money to do it. The Canadian dollar's been going up too, so it's going to be slightly less expensive than I anticipated, which is good. It's going to cost me $18,250 US for the forehead, scalp advancement, the chin, the jaw, brow bone reduction, nose job, and tracheal shave. That's Adam's apple reduction. So quite a complete set of procedures there, which will hopefully make me look more feminine and prettier, I hope. Apart from that, last weekend, Erin and I have gone clubbing once again. Well, actually, we went with her friend Lou to a Thai restaurant first, and we had, again, delicious food. It was a really nice restaurant, and we shared many dishes. Among the three of us, we had beef, chicken with cashew sauce, fried tofu with peanut sauce, fried shrimp, duck. We had some delicious coconut milk soups, spicy coconut milk with mushrooms and chicken. It was really fantastic. And after that, we went to Lou's place, we got drunk, we already had started drinking at the restaurant, but we got to Lou's place, we got even more drunk, and we went to this nightclub called Thursdays once again, and it was fun as usual, but it was a bit freaky for me because some strange things happened. Well, some trans girls were telling me, you shouldn't go to straight clubs when you're not post-op, it's dangerous. Some guy could put his hand on your crotch, and you instantly know that you're male. And well, guess what? I was dancing with this guy, and he put his hand in my crotch area, like directly there, and I didn't even notice at first until like Aaron and Lou pointed it out, and they were like, oh my god, what is he doing? And then I noticed as they pointed out, and took his hands off of there, and then I told them, he probably can't tell, and I'm 99.9% sure he couldn't tell because I was tucked, safely enough, I think. And really, it seems the only way that the guy could tell would be if he put his hands, between my legs and really, grasp. But if a guy did that, I think I would probably punch him in the face. And well, hopefully that'll never happen. Hopefully. But that was kind of freaky, But again, shows that even if a guy does touch your crotch area, if you're tucked, it's not necessarily an instant giveaway, which was interesting in and of itself. But after that, I didn't want to dance with that guy anymore, and he was really insisting, and then some other black guy comes along who seems to be interested, and he saw that the guy was too insisting, and he decided to talk to him, and it almost looked like they were gonna fight. So then me and my friends decided to go to the other dance floor in that club. That was kind of freaky also. Anyways, we danced some more, we had fun, but later on I met these two guys who remembered me from like a few weeks before, and they even remembered the name I gave them, and that was really surprising to me. I really didn't think any of these people would remember me and the name I gave them, but anyways, I guess that means they were really attracted to me. It's kind of flattering in a sense. And yeah, that's it. Basically, as I said before, I kind of like going dancing in straight places and having men hit on me, even though I'm not necessarily very much interested in them. I like dancing, I like having fun with my friends, and I like the fact, that people show interest in me, and that I seem to be very passable in public. But I say that, and at the same time, not that long ago, I got clocked twice. Once I was in a pharmacy, and another time I was doing the groceries with Erin, and I got clocked twice by salespeople there. And that was a little bit depressing for me, but I guess it just goes to confirm, that FFS is something that I'm going to need if I really want to be, close to 100% passable. I think I pass pretty well in public, especially with makeup, but if I want to really be passable without makeup, getting FFS will probably be helpful. I mean, I know a lot of people look at me in my blogs and they tell me, oh, you don't need it, but the fact is, there are some masculine characteristics about me, and if you look at girls that are my age, if you look at 23-year-old girls, you will see that they don't really look like me. They generally look a lot more feminine. And, you can see that I have some Adam's apple when I turn my head sideways. You can see that I have a big jaw. You can see that I have very pronounced brow bones. You can see my receding hair a little bit, and all those things, I think contribute to making me not 100% passable. And they annoy me, and I want to fix them. So I'm really decided about getting FFS, and now kind of too late to cancel because I already made a deposit with Dr. Zkowski. But it's kind of stressful to me a little bit, I mean, it's kind of stressful for Erin too. She's got some fears about the surgery a little bit, and obviously, it's the kind of thing, you kind of hope the surgeon's going to be, feeling good that day and feeling well rested and do a good job, because every face he does looks different, and some of them don't look as good as others. But anyways, I've been told I have a good start, that my face is already fairly feminine, so hopefully that's gonna go well. But anyways, back to the main topic. I'm sorry for talking about so many different things, I wanted to tell you about my hormone regimen. So recently what I've been taking is Androcure 25 milligrams per day as an anti-androgen, and 20 milligrams per milliliter of estradiol valerate hormones. Those are injectable hormones that I inject in my legs. 1 week in my left leg, the next week in my right leg. I do it once a week, 1 milliliter. And well, interestingly, I think it's the most effective hormone regimen that I have been on so far. When I was on the pills, my breast development eventually just seemed to stop completely. But right now, the injections, it seems to be continuing. And also on other anti-androgens that I've tried before, I've been really, really tired. This seems to be slightly less of a problem on Androcure with this estrogen and anti-androgen combination. I'm also taking a very small dosage of anti-androgen, which is good because it means you take less anti-androgens, you're going to have less side effects. Because it seems really that when you're taking hormones, most of the nasty side effects come from the anti-androgen rather than the estrogen itself. So I've been kind of happy, satisfied with it. My breast development's continuing. I don't really have too many times when I'm down and depressed because of the anti-androgen. Androcure can make me irritable every once in a while, but I've been trying to eat more proteins, and it's been really helping, I think, with keeping my moods up and keep me feeling well. So far I've been doing really well, but as I've said before, those are not the only reasons why I like this hormone regimen. One of the main reasons that I like it is that many people, assume that just when you start taking hormones, it's going to kill your sex drive. And for me, that used to be true. I used to take spironolactone at some point. I've also tried other anti-androgens like Casodex, and even some weak anti-androgens like Proscar and Avodart, which are not real anti-androgens. They only block DHT, which is a derivative of testosterone, not testosterone itself. But anyways, pretty much all of these products that I've taken before were killing my sex drive. I had almost no sexual desire anymore. And that bothered me, because some people think that it's a natural thing for women to not have a sex drive. I think that's just wrong. I think women, when they're healthy, they do have a sex drive. And I wanted to have one, especially since I was in a relationship. I've been with my girlfriend now for, well over a year. I wanted to be able to keep having a healthy sex life. And now with this new hormone regimen, I've somehow managed to achieve that. It seems that not only is my sex drive alive and well, I can also maintain erections even though I'm on hormones, and I don't need things like Viagra or Cialis. I used to take those when I was on other anti-androgens that rather killed my sex drive, but it seems I don't even need those anymore. And some people might think that's weird. In fact, some people have told me, well, if you can still have erections on anti-androgens, that probably means that your testosterone is really high. That those anti-androgens are not blocking your testosterone properly. But I've had blood tests done twice now, and I've noted some of my results right here, and that doesn't seem to be the case. My testosterone is at 0.6, which might even be below the normal female range, so my testosterone is completely neutralized. And it's something that I can attest for. It's not an error in the test, because when my testosterone is really high, I seem to have a lot of acne, and my facial hair gets darker and really visible. Instead of right now it's kind of blonde and there's not much of it. But when my testosterone goes higher, it becomes dark, really visible. My body hair too. And I can just tell that my testosterone is high. But right now it's not. And yet I still have a sex drive. And also interestingly, my estrogen is extremely high. My estrogen level is over 3,500 pg per ml. And to give you an idea of how high that is, the normal for a female is between 50 and 400. So my estrogen level is something like 10 times over the normal female level at the peak of the menstrual cycle, which is completely crazy. But somehow I've been on hormones by injection for like over 5 or 6 months now. I don't even know how long anymore, and it doesn't seem to be causing me problems with my health. Somebody has suggested though that having really high estrogen can raise my prolactin level. Prolactin is the hormone that makes women, produce breast milk. And that does seem to be the case a little bit. My prolactin is at 36, and the normal for females is between 4 and 30. So it's slightly above the normal female range. However, for my research on the internet, I found some answer by a doctor who said that they don't really worry about prolactin levels being really high unless they go over 100. So since I'm at 36, I'm probably fairly safe, When prolactin becomes really high, it can cause what's called a prolactinoma, which where the prolactin producing glands in your brain, start taking too much room, and that can cause you headaches and other complications. But so far I don't think that's a problem. It seems to be pretty safe. The doctor also told me that my cholesterol was low, like below the standards, which is kind of interesting because I like to eat chips and stuff that have cholesterol in them, and I do walk quite a bit, but I don't consider myself someone who's super physically active, but apparently I am quite healthy, so I'm quite satisfied with my blood test results. And I'm giving you this information about my hormone regimen and its effects because I can vouch for hormones by injection. I think they're really effective, and they give me much less side effects. And I can also vouch for the fact that it's possible to be on hormones and to have a sex drive and a healthy sex life. And if you're on anti-androgens that cut your sex drive, reduce it down to 0, and you're not happy about it, maybe you can explore other options with your doctor. It's possible that you're taking the wrong anti-androgen for you and another one would be better, but it's possible that you're taking way too much, because I'm taking 25 milligrams of Androcure, and that seems to be way sufficient, but some people take as high as 100 milligrams of Androcure, and maybe they don't need to. Maybe they could do it much less of it. And I think it's important when you're taking hormones, if you're going to be taking hormones for the rest of your life, it might be a good thing to talk to your doctor and try to find the best hormone regimen that you can possibly find, because you might have much less side effects than me, but much happier in the end. Personally, when I don't have a sex drive and when I feel tired and depressed, when that's happened to me before, it made me want, almost to quit hormones because, I felt quite miserable at some point, when I needed to sleep. At some point I needed to sleep like 16 hours a day, I would sleep 12 hours a night, and then in the middle of that afternoon I would feel tired enough that I needed to take a nap. And I don't think that was, too healthy. Plus I felt depressed at the same time, and I had no sex drive. And when you have no sex drive, it's really hard to have a love relationship with someone too, because most people, expect that when you're in a love relationship, you're gonna have sex with them. And if you don't, they might cheat on you, they might just leave you. Your relationship might very well not work. So, I think those are important considerations. And if you're on hormones and you're not fully satisfied with your hormone regimen, maybe you want to keep in mind, that there's many options when it comes to estrogen, You can have injections, and there's at least 2 different products that you can take for estrogen injections that are safe, There's at least 5 different anti-androgens that you can take. In fact, I know of 6 different possibilities that you could take in terms of anti-androgens, and each of them, have different trade-offs, different side effects. So I think it's important to explore what might be best for you. Because, me personally, if I never get SRS, then that means I'm going to be taking anti-androgens for the rest of my life. So I might as well find something that I'm comfortable taking. I can tell you though, now that I feel pretty good. These days I feel like I feel more calm and happy than when I was off the hormones. And that things are going pretty well these days for me. So I guess this is it for today's video blog. Again, if you have questions, you can post a reply, you can post a video response, you can send me a personal message. If you have very long questions that you want to ask me, you probably should go for a video response or sending me a private message. But if you have short questions, don't hesitate to post them in the comments. And yeah, another thing, I guess, I promised you to make a makeup video a little while ago already. I wanted to make it with Marlene. Unfortunately, it seems that Marlene is not as available these days, so I guess I'm gonna have to do it alone. The good news is that I have been practicing my makeup skills more lately. I've been doing my makeup myself when going out, and I think I got better at it, and I have a really simple, nice look that seems to work well for me, and to emphasize my more feminine features. And I guess I can make a video where I teach you how to do that look, which works well for going out, and it's not too crazy or extravagant and not too hard to do. So that's probably what I'm gonna end up doing. I'm probably gonna end up doing a makeup video just by myself, where I teach you how to do this simple look, and maybe other looks at some other point later on. Okay, so that's it for today, people. Bye bye.